Morning, it's 8:15 on the 14th of February. Um, First stage of the day, just a meeting with very wonderful manager Gary Cronin, just to go through some of their reports so far for the GPS. But before I get there, I have to drive in this wonderful N4 traffic. Something I certainly don't miss, driving to and from Dublin in the mornings at this time. How anybody does this every day is beyond me. So, busy schedule today. We have a double in Minute this evening and a double in Shells this evening. So, crack on with that later on. Quite a bit to organise today, so we'll have a long day. Probably wrap up this evening at about 11:15, I would say, by the time I get back home and finish. So upload sessions later on today. So morning of the 14th of Feb. Had a busy enough day yesterday, meeting at lunchtime. Very, very good meeting at lunchtime with a guy who I would see him as a business mentor and a friend over the last few years. I've coached all of his kids, and it's great to sit down, have a coffee, have a chat, shoot the breeze, give some ideas, feedback on where we're at, kind of business wise, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and the great thing is his feedback is all selfless. He doesn't want anything out of it. It's purely to help what we're doing, because he knows what's been put into it over the years. And part of obviously the discussion was the up and down nature of what we do, whether it's a 6-week term, an 8-week term, whether that's paid on a monthly basis, whatever it is. Genuinely, this is a problem within a business, to try and manage a cash flow which comes in peaks and drops off 6 weeks, back in again, or rebooking terms. So it's a constant thought. Okay, well, what is the best way of running it? And we have a lot of kids that have been with us a very long time, years, and they've all kind of gone through different payment terms with us. Whether, again, we've ran 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10-week terms. We've ran long blocks through the Club 4 system. But it's a constant thought. Are we doing it right? And years later, I'm still not quite sure whether we are. So it's going to be something, again, we got to look at, tweak it. Thought I had it right this time, this block, not quite there. So it's something we'll review and check. But from the meeting, a couple of really good ideas, because obviously on the high performance side of it, it's a unique position in Ireland. It's not something that's very common at all. There's been significant investment into that area of the business. You're talking about purchasing 500 GPS units. GPS units here in Ireland are about €225, or $250. So they're not cheap. So by 100, it's significant, and trying to have them in the right areas and getting the right information. So certainly now what we're going to look at is the gathering of that information on player performance across different age groups, across different levels, and at senior and National League level, and then have a benchmark across certain levels for players, and build up that information and that data, which is important. So as we kind of progress now with the season about to kick off today now for all of the Premier Division teams, and then the Division 1 teams kick off next week, it's going to ramp up very, very quickly. The National League teams a couple of weeks off now, the Women's National League teams a couple of weeks off, so it'll be you'll have three teams after next week, 3 Premier Division and Division 1 teams on the system. And then next, as at the moment, we're still looking after the analysis side for Relentless Senior League Kilbarrack. So there's a lot to do. It's managing time, as I feel the last couple of weeks since Soccer 365 started. It is endless. It is constant, and it is relentless. It's a never-ending schedule of things to do. I have trusted in the past and offloaded some work, and some of my venues struggled, numbers fell, and that's just the reality. It's not being harsh, but that is the reality. Some venues fell significantly when I stepped out of directly coaching it each week. So I've gone back into every venue, and all the numbers have gone back up, which is very positive. And it's that part of it. The other sides of the business that need to be done, like just done, VAT returns just done for the last 6 months. That takes a bit of work also to get done. That's done behind the scenes, and it's necessary. Believe me, if you have not done your VAT return by the end of January, you've got a letter of demand from revenue looking for 3 or 4 times what you'll actually be due to pay them, and they're just making an estimate. So that's done, which is a little bit of a relief. The next one then is the end of June. So there's always something that needs to be done urgently, and managing the marketing side. So on the marketing side, this time, for the last 2 weeks of December, we used both Facebook and Instagram for advertisements across a couple of different venues, and it worked. I think new joiner wise, there was probably 25 new joiners, and the spend on new joiners was about €80. So €80 advertisement on Facebook, and give or take 25 new joiners. So it's probably it's worked out okay. So we're going to look at that again, of how we can use it, different venues, and then look at other methods of promotion. So videos is constant at the moment. We're doing a lot of videos, a lot of stuff in sessions. There's a lot of information done, which has not gone up online yet. A lot of these the personal vlogs about the journey, all done. I kind of do them every day, but I haven't began to upload them just yet. So there's loads and loads of information on that just coming through. So it is a matter of just being consistent. The next piece, and having the right plans in place to move forward. I do suspect that in the coming days, the coming week, I need to have a planning morning. I like them. It's where I basically sit down, whiteboard, and brain dump on ideas, brain dump on what needs to be done, and then from that literally link the tasks of what needs to be done and what ideas are there to help what needs to be done, or ideas that can grow from what needs to be done. So when information gets so big, or when tasks get massive and you're just trying to manage it, it's better to do a brain dump, because I find that if I'm not sleeping, it's down to the brain is in overdrive, it doesn't switch off. So I have to at that point in time do a brain dump, and it's been, I'd say, 9 months since I've had to do a brain dump. I said I like doing it. It's a good way of looking at ideas and where you're at, what needs to be done. So I would say in the coming week that will be done as a key focus before I'm going to try and get anything else moving forward. I just need to get the brain dumped off, and almost like wiping a hard drive and a computer, just start from scratch. So once I do that and I have it, all the information out of the brain onto the page, we can then set some constructive plans going forward. So travel wise, just over a week to Rome, get away, and less than 2 weeks, this day 2 weeks time, we'll be on the way to Washington for 4 days, 3 days. So business trip over there, back, and then it's cracking on. So we'll continue to upload, enjoy the process. The process is difficult, but physically, mentally, financially, there are many aspects to this, but we're doing the right things. Believe we're doing the right things. Believe I'm doing what I should be doing. It's what I was meant to do, and coaching is a gift that I need to continue to make best use of, and that is something that I will continue to do and continue to develop on over the coming years and months. Cost of sport. I used to do competitive swimming growing up, and I think, if I remember correctly, my dad used to pay around €80. Before that was pounds, actually, maybe £80 for swimming a month. Now that was probably 6 days a week, session a day, sometimes 2 sessions a day. So you definitely 8 sessions a week with Relentless and CRC, and I find, when I think about the cost in sport, like my daughter does Irish dance, and I think it's about £6 a class, £7 a class. And I know if you go to drama, it's 10 a class, not a bit more. And it's, I don't, within the GAA, they have the best facilities. I was in Trim GAA last night. Trim GAA's got incredible facilities for an amateur sport. And it's really frustrating when you look at the position that the League of Ireland is in. The grounds are shite, most of them. Our home ground in Tolka is Tolka Park for Shells. Half of it's fallen apart, but it's actually not as bad as Dalymount for Bowes. I was in Bowes last year, and honestly, it looks like a scrap metal yard in parts. It's just terrible. Cove last year, really, really bad. Athlone excellent, really good. Longford's looks well. They've done a good job there. But I still maintain that I think all of the GA clubs and GA setups are better than football. Why is that? Is that the money generating revenue, or the machine that is the All Ireland that generates a huge amount of money into from Croker? Is that what it is? Is that how they can fund it? I just don't know, and I'd love to know why or how it is in the position. I take my hat off to those in the GA, because they've done a magnificent job in providing the best of facilities, training that's on. Like I looked last night in the Trim GA, we used the Astro with a soccer program, and at the same time, across all of the grass pitches in manoeuvring across traffic in Liffey Valley, across all of the pitches that they must have had about 8 teams training across all the pitches in little sections on grass in effectively mud, because we walked back through it to get back out, but training was on. We have that problem here where somebody spits on the ground, it's off because the ground's still wet and they can't play. There's just too much of that in football. I think it's looking for an excuse for it to be off. It's cold, okay, it's cold, put a coat on. It's wet, okay, put a hat on. There's always an excuse to why something should be off. Like recently, I seen in Trim, one of the newly elected politicians, again, re-elected politicians, got €2 million to upgrade, not even build, upgrade the library. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know who goes to a library anymore. The need for $2 million to go into a library, $2 million into sports facilities, would have a far better effect for kids. Clean facilities, modern facilities, and professional facilities that could be multi-sport based. Help Gaelic, soccer, rugby, running, athletics, help everything. 2 million could be very, very well spent in that area. No, we spent 2 million on a library. Okay, kids got to learn to read, yes. So that's important, I understand. But kids are in school and kids are learning there, and kids can get a book and buy a book in a shop or buy a book on Amazon or whatever, and be able to read there. Are they going to go to the library and sit in there and read? No. Are they going to go in there and sit on a computer and do some words? No. I think time has changed. In a decade, time has changed significantly. There's no need to go to it. That's why there's no libraries opening up. But why do we spend 2 million on one in Trem? It's just madness. When our partner club, Trim Celtic, has got a fantastic grass pitch, but no Astro. They pay 25,000 a year to a sports hall, not a sports hall, a sports Astro, and one of the gyms, and there's huge money spent on that to private businesses. Yeah, you look in countries like Holland and in Amsterdam, there's there's council-funded pitches. Now, when I say council-funded pitch, it's not like Fairview Park. It is council-funded facilities, probably on the same footprint that Liffey Valley is on here. And inside it has got multiple pitches, multiple sports, clubhouse facilities, changing facilities. Everything is in place, and several clubs, now they're all on asphalt, not grass, several clubs will become tenants on that premises and those properties, and they have their pitches and they rent it, and the council funds that back in. So it takes the money from a source, sets up the facilities, and then gets tenants off that. Why can we not do that in this country? Why do we have to have it that it's them versus us? As I said, the job done in the GA is fantastic. Is it frustrating from a soccer person? Absolutely. Am I pissed off over it? Yeah, of course, because what they have is far better than what we can deliver for kids. So I understand that kids don't play football. But back to my original point on cost, you pay for quality. You have to pay for quality. If you don't, you cannot have an expectation. So there's a strange mix when it comes to the GA. They don't pay a huge amount of money, but they've got the excellent facilities. They've got facilities that are on. Then you flip it and you go, some football clubs are charging €450 to play for the club, across standard BDSL and DSL football clubs, and training could be off once a week. Games could be off. There's always an excuse for something to be off. Yet I know in our program last year, we had 4 sessions off in the entire year. 4, of which 3 of them came in the same 10-day period of stormy weather. It just wasn't possible to run it because of red weather warnings. But other than that, it's always been on, and parents don't even ask anymore, is training on today? Because they know, I'll just tell them, yeah. It's a coat, it's a hat, it's on. It's an hour. It's not going to damage the kids. In fact, kids enjoy playing in the weather. But I enjoy. I understand parents don't enjoy necessarily standing in it. It's fine. But it's appropriate clothing, and away you go, I think is important. This is the topic I think I'm going to discuss quite a bit, because I think it's important. And we're never going to get an answer necessarily to it. It's not going to change, I don't think. You could take 100 million from the government and set up the best of facilities, then you'd have a change. Set the best facilities across the country, get tenants and clubs in to at least them use them, and you'd have a brilliant setup. It's all about community. The GA is all about community. Football is all about competition. That's the difference. Everyone's competing for players, and promises of this, promises of that, and not necessarily delivering on that. But I see in GA, if you live in one location, that's who you play for. It's typically about where you are from, and it's not a bad thing either. Good evening. It's just after coming up to 6 on the 15th, Saturday the 15th of February. It was a busy day today with a triple session in Trim. Fortunately, Enfield off with the storm. Just the kids there, just a little bit too young for the weather that was kind of incoming. The players that have been older would have been fine, but just a decision made early on that this morning. So we had a triple session in Trim. Wrapped up that 4 o'clock. A 3:45. Got home 4:15. Back out now. Some GPS stuff to do for the next couple of hours. And fatigue has kicked in. I've actually started to try to change some of the driving journeys, because doing that much driving, if you do the same journey all the time, it becomes almost dangerous because you get too comfortable. So changing up some of the driving distances or some of the roads just to try and make it a little bit different. So yeah, all good. Good sessions, very good sessions today, and we will then tomorrow got a 1-to-1, no game again because of the weather, which is wonderful. One game in 2.5 months, the 19s have had, which is crazy. But so we'll upload videos, get everything back on track, and we crack on with the busy week ahead.